Non-Muslims doctors say to abort it, and when the Muslim doctors say it is haram. And someone who's a little bit modern has said that if the child is for 40 days in the womb, before 40 days you can abort it, after 40 days it is not possible. You cannot do it under Islamic law. Is that right or is that wrong?
The brother asked a question that is speaking that today scientifically the doctors who want to abort, etc. Why does Quran does not give permission to abort if it's danger to the life of the mother? Quran speaks about abortion in Surah Anam, chapter 6, verse number 151, as well as in Surah Isra, chapter 17, verse number 31. It says, kill not your children for want of sustenance. For it is Allah that will provide sustenance to you and your children. For killing of infants is a major sin. So abortion is haram under normal circumstances. For example, pork is haram. Alcohol is haram. Having dead meat is haram. But same time the Quran says in 4 different places. In Surah Baqarah chapter 2 verse number 173, in Surah Ma'idah chapter number 5 verse number 3, in Surah Anam chapter 6 verse number 145, and in Surah Nahl chapter 16 verse number 115, it says that if unwillingly, if you disobey Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, Allah is Rahman Rahim. If under compulsion, if you disobey Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, Allah is Rahman Rahim. If you are dying of hunger, pork is the only dish that you can have. Pork becomes halal for you. It's perfectly halal, but don't have so much and keep on having after you don't require it. If you are in a jungle, if pork is the only thing that you can find to eat, or in a desert, pork becomes allowed for you only for that time. When you come back to the city, it becomes haram. So same way abortion, just because you don't want a child is haram in Islam. It's a major sin. But if it's a danger to the life of the mother, it's totally allowed. Because in Islam, the life of the mother is more precious than the life of the child, which has not come in being on its own. I do know there are certain people who say that after 40 days it's not allowed, before 40 it's allowed. Quran is very clear-cut on that. If it's a danger to your life, unwillingly if you disobey Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, it's totally allowed. So if the doctor says that you have certain heart problem and the labor pains will cause a strain on your heart, the mother will die, you have to abort, you have to go ahead with it. Because in Islam, you cannot sacrifice a greater loss to save a small loss. The life of the mother who's already alive and adult is more important than the child who cannot live on its own. So in these cases, if it's a danger to the life of the mother, it's totally allowed in Islam. If it's not a danger, it's haram. Hope that answers the question.
The next question from the ladies' side.
Assalamu alaikum, Brother Zakir. My question is, when Quran speaks so much about science, then how come the Muslims are so backward in the field of science?
The sister posed the question that when Quran speaks so much about science, how come the Muslims are backward? Sister, I would mainly blame the media. The media today is in the hands of the Westerners, the Europeans. It's in their hand. They have the satellite, they have the television, they have the CNN, they have the BBC. It's in their hand. The media is in their hand. And whatever you read in your school books and books which you read in college, you'll read there that from 8th to the 12th century, it was the dark ages. Dark for whom? It was dark for the Europeans, not for the world. The Arabs and the Muslims were very much advanced from the 8th to the 12th century. They were very much advanced. The Europeans were backward. Because they were backward, they said it was dark ages for the world. It was not dark for the world, it was dark for the Europeans. With the limited instruments and technology what we had from 8th to 12th century, what discoveries the Muslim scientists made, it's unbelievable. Today, because science is advanced, we're making so many discoveries. There, with the amount of limited facility we had, the amount of discoveries Muslim scientists made, it's unbelievable. For example, I quoted in my talk that Ibn Nafis, he discovered the blood circulation. But in the medical books and the books we read in school, who discovered blood circulation? William Harvey. Everyone knows William Harvey, no one knows about Ibn Nafis. Ibn Nafis spoke about blood circulation